My name is Brandon Marable, and I have APOL1. Being diagnosed with APOL1 has affected me in a variety different of sorts. Going through the treatments of this, lifestyle changes have been changed tremendously. I'm fortunate to know more about my situation now so I can treat it a lot better. When I was first diagnosed with APOL1, the first thing that went through my mind was fear, shock. Because I didn't know what it was. I went to the hospital because I was just so exhausted. I was thinking maybe I was dehydrated, maybe I didn't get enough rest, because at this point I was working warehouse jobs and construction jobs, which were 12-hour shifts. I call into work and say, hey, I've got to go to the doctor and see maybe they can give me some vitamins or something. And I'm thinking like maybe I'm missing a few meals or something. You know, 12-hour shifts, you're not always gonna catch lunch, or you're not always gonna be able to eat dinner. Sometimes you crash out or just fall asleep. They drew blood and it was sent off to Boston. And 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. It's the doctor that I went to go see, and they said, Mr. Marable, we're gonna need you to come back in. We'd like to speak with you in person. And that was the initial fear that I knew something was wrong. I go back and they tell me, are you familiar with APOL1? And I said, what is that? You know, I've never even heard the term before. Well, sir, your kidneys, is something majorly wrong with your kidneys. I kind of knew something was the matter because, you know, it would be times where I would drink a simple soda. The swell up in my belly would it would be excruciating sometimes. It was torture. It was miserable. I was miserable. So when I got the news that I had APOL1, first thing I did was ask, am I gonna be okay? Do I have options to fix this? Can I turn this around? And that moment, I knew my life was gonna change. Up until that point, I thought that I knew everything about myself, about my life, about what direction I was gonna go in. Until you get that news from that doctor that things are not going as you thought, that's a real eye-opener. And that took me to a nutritionist. My eating habits are very important to me. My exercise on top of eating habits and good rest, those are vital. There are times where, you know, I want that soda at 2 in the morning, or I want those sweets. I want a slab of ribs, but I know I can't do that. You know, it's easy to make one mistake, but then that one mistake leads to another mistake, and you're completely out of your system of trying to be healthy. For me, this isn't by choice. You know, this is a lifestyle now. I have to. My life depends on it. I didn't know how this happened to me. I look at my grandfather, I look at my father. These are both in shape men. I come from a healthy background where there wasn't any cancerous natures in our family. There wasn't any kidney failure. There wasn't any heart attacks, you know. But what does concern me though is that I never knew my mother, so I really don't know her side of the family. Could it have been, you know, certain parts of her family that struggle with this thing, that it could be hereditary? The second part of this was, how long have I been living with this? Was I born with it? Did it happen over a period of time through bad health choices? There are questions unanswered. It's been times where I couldn't afford my medicine. A lot of jobs I worked anyway, they didn't have health insurance. I don't want to get into schematics of it, but you know, the medicine's not cheap. The initial hospital bills, you know, the initial like All these are like tens of thousands of dollars yearly. You know, I landed a really good job in you know, the warehouse field and construction field. I had to let that go. I had to cut my life down to where I could manage it, you know, and still be healthy. Being able to get back and forth to the hospital, to the doctors, to see the doctors was challenging also. Being that I was just kind of starting off, I didn't have transportation, having to catch the bus from here to there, and having to rely on my family for support. It was hard, you know. My family has been my biggest support. They fight this thing like it's theirs, you know. Being my grandmother, my brother, my dad. You want to make sure that you have those prayer warriors, the ones that are going to step up for you every time. You want to make sure those people are right beside you. And by the way, you can create your family. You can make your family. You know what I'm saying? There are people who have APOL1 who I've called brothers. You know, there are people who have some of these doctors who I consider my friends. You don't have to carry this thing by yourself. And that's what my family has shown me. I knew those people were a phone call away, you know, and that those people would make sure that I got where I needed to go. Being diagnosed with APOL1 has affected my mental health in so many different ranges. I have to make room for this disease in my life. I'll compartmentalize as much as I can to put on a smile and to just keep pushing forward. But deep down, it hurts knowing that these are gonna be struggles for the rest of my life. You know, you're always in the back of your mind. You don't want to get too far away from home. I have to live my life like literally like a chessboard. Mentally, like I feel enclosed sometimes in my own mind. Like anxiety kicks in, depression. When you open a box filled with nothing but needles and medicine every morning, sometimes I wonder, you know, is it worth all this, you know? I can't stay caught in those thoughts, because the moment I let those thoughts ensnare me is the moment that I'm not living my best life. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta watch what I eat. Does that mean that I can't be happy? No. You have to fight for happiness in some situations, you know what I'm saying? And nothing's wrong with that. But you know, you gotta have peace. Peace has to come with it. I'm happy when, hey, I'm not tired, you know, hey, I got some food on my stomach, you know what I'm saying? Those things make me happy, but you know, sometimes I do struggle with peace, like, how long is this gonna last? Yeah, those are the thoughts in the crevices of my mind, you know. Sometimes my thoughts eat themselves. Mentally, I'm strong, but there are times where I don't know what's next. My advice for young African Americans with APOL1 is don't let this disease make you a victim. Do not let your circumstances and health define who you are. I just want to let everyone know there is information out there to help you. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel like there is no hope, there is information, there are people out there who also know the struggles of this. There's so many times where I've been told, with my condition, I should just sit at home and rest, or baby, don't go anywhere, just stay at the house. No, I have a condition, true enough, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to go be a good positive impact on society. Even with this APOL1, I'm gonna make something out of my life, and I want to live my best life. Take it from me, the more you stay on top of your health and your wellness, the better things will be. It gives you a clarity of mind. It gives you a great sense of being, knowing that I'm doing everything in my power to make the next healthy decision. Your health is gonna show its face regardless. Whether we want to know about it first, that's completely up to us. Don't sit around and wait to hear bad news, because there can be so many things that can be prevented if we take initiative